that I deal with has been something I've dealt with since pre-adolescence. I'm lucky I don't have to take any drugs or do anything for that because I've found a way to manage my life that keeps me pretty healthy and happy. But, I definitely think part of my survival in those early years was comedy, was listening to Broadway shows, was when my parents would take me to see a Broadway show. My parents took me to see What's Up, Doc at Radio City Musical, that great Barbra Streisand, Ryan O'Neal movie. That was a huge event for me to sit in that theater and watch that kind of funny movie and recognize comic timing. I knew I was watching people that were like me, And so unfortunately, I would say as a teenager and when you start to get angry, my comedy and what I thought was funny got very mean, and I had a very sharp, wicked tongue, and that was another way to survive. And then once I finally... I was very sarcastic. I was very... and if you weren't the object of my tongue, it could be funny for those around. But if you were the target, I'm sure it was mean.
When you moved from New York to California, was it a culture shock to you?
Oh, yeah. No, but I just want to say this. That was when I was a teenager. I worked through that sort of mean stage by the time I was an adult. And certainly when I created Coco, I was already past that sort of mean stage. And I wouldn't even say I was that mean. I'm probably making it seem worse than it was. But I think internally I felt better when I could sort of let that pain go and didn't feel the need to put to target other people's weaknesses and play them up. I was also a huge fan of insult comedy at that age. But I think you have to really understand that the insult is coming from a place of, it's an art, Anyways, but yes, when I moved from New York to California, it was a sort of culture shock. It was a welcome one. I felt like I needed a change. I grew up in New York. I wanted to experience something different. But I remember one night I was at a party when I first moved here, and someone said, "What do you miss about New York?" And I said, "The Korean stores." And I got such shit for saying Korean because they're just stores. Why are you calling them the Korean stores? I said, because they were all owned by Koreans.
Yes.
And they couldn't wrap their mind around that. And that's a very New York thing. We had neighborhoods. Oh, that's these people live. That people. It wasn't necessarily racist, but I can see how it came across that way. But that was, New Yorkers have a way of talking, and I guess there's an understanding that it doesn't mean anything beyond than exactly that. If you're talking to another New Yorker and you said the Korean store, you know exactly the kind of store they're talking about.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah, so it was that sort of, there were little, culture shocks like that.
So
yeah.
These days, what has Miss Coco actually been doing with herself, and what kind of appearances and shows are you doing?
Well, I just did Drag Queens of Comedy up at San Francisco, which is a whole comedy show with other drag queens, me being one of them. And that was great fun. And we're doing that again in New York in August. And at the end of August, I then leave to go to Ogunquit, where I'll be performing in a club called Main Street. And then I go to P-Town, where I perform at the Crown and Anchor. And right now what I'm doing is I'm writing a whole new show, which is torture. But I got to do it, and I'll get through it.
So any plans for you to return to the Pacific Northwest?
I would love to. My friend that owns, where did I say I played? Slipped my mind right now. But the club where I played, she sold it, so I don't know who owns it. Maybe I have to find a new place to perform. I don't know.
Well, I know that there's Neighbors. That's a massive club downtown Seattle.
I'm better in smaller venues than a massive club.
Really?
Yeah. Well, my shows are intimate.
Oh my goodness.
It's storytelling. So if it gets too big, that sort of intimacy gets lost. And I hate having to tell people to shut the fuck up, you know?
Well, you know what?
That gets exhausting real fast.
You're the first one, though, that has said that, and I have never really thought of it like that. Thank you so much. I mean, seriously, dealing with much larger groups and live shows with large people, the intimacy of it does, yeah.
No, it's seriously hateful, and I'm going to tell you why it's hateful. Because people have lost the ability to behave properly in public. With all the, even in my small venues, I have to constantly tell people, would you turn off your fucking, can I curse?
Yeah, sure, you can turn it off.
Oh,
you can
turn off your phones. Why are you texting?
Right,
You're annoying everyone around you. Then they think they can tape your show. Like they literally are sitting there with the phone up in the air, taping your entire performance or sections of it, and then posting it and giving it away. It's like, listen, I don't show up at your job and steal from you.
Right.
You know, I don't reach into your wallet and take out, some extra cash. Why are you taping my show? And they're confused by it. You know, when I was a kid, and even now I go to the movies. I don't even want to eat popcorn. I just want to sit there and focus on and really absorb what it is I'm taking. I went to see, and this is stupid, but I went to see. We took friends to Vegas. They were visiting from Spain, and each hotel has its big show out front, the fountains and this and that. So we line up and we're watching we're maybe five people back. We're not right up front. And all of a sudden, the fountains start, and all these cameras and iPads and things go up in the air, and people are taping it, blocking the view for everyone behind them. So now you're having to watch what they're taped. And I thought, can you not be present and, live in the moment and take this in? Why do you have to freaking tape it and ruin it for everybody else around you? It's so self-absorbed and so... I don't even think that they realize they're being rude. I just think that it's the way it is today, and it's become a losing battle, really. And you go to Broadway shows, there's people sitting there with their phones texting. It's horrible.
I know. Could you imagine though? I mean, if people are going to be so stupid to text when they're driving, or attempt to text when they're flying, then that what are they going to do? Be texting in the middle of a funeral?
Oh, I'm sure they have. I mean, I'm not surprised by anything nowadays, and it's the attention span, is much shorter nowadays.
Well, it's the lack of respect, and if somebody is going to show openly a lack of respect for the artist, whomever that is on the stage.
But here's the thing: they don't even know. It's like one thing is to know that that's disrespectful and still do it, because then you're just an asshole. But some of these people aren't even assholes. They just don't know. They're growing up in a time when that's appropriate. So when I call them out on it, they're looking at me like, "What? Huh?"
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Well, exactly. And here you are trying to make a living. You're trying to do what's right. You want to get your show done, your performance complete, in the can, so to speak. That's what they say on television. And going to the next thing, and here you've got to end up dealing with these yahoos. Yeah,
but it's it's not that they're horrible people. It's just that it's the way the world is, and it's just the way it is now, and you have to sort of navigate around it. And all I keep thinking is, I'll be retired in about 10 years, and I won't have to worry about this bullshit anymore. So let me just get through the next 10 years, pay my bills, and then I'll be okay.
So you are planning
and I try and enjoy the ride for the next 10 years, and focus on what's good.
So okay, so I guess then you are planning on and looking forward to your retirement. What's going to happen to Miss Coco after retirement?
I'm going to plop my ass down on a beach in southern Spain is what I'm going to do.
Is that where you want to live and retire to?
Well, for part of the year, that's where my husband's from.
Wow. Awesome. I've thought, and it makes me so furious, because for the last 5 years, 10 years or so, I've thought, okay, I'm ready to retire, just hanging up, and that's the end of it. But every time that I would do that, then something breaks, something happens that keeps me grounded right exactly where I am as far as media to continue doing shows.
Well, that's a sign that you're supposed to be doing what you're doing, and I'm open to that as well. In 10 years, if I don't feel like I'm ready, or my life has changed in a way that I hadn't expected, yeah, I mean, or if I got a big TV show and was making tons of money, I certainly would keep working.
I mean, I'm really surprised that Ellen has not reached out to you or Jimmy Fallon. I think Jimmy Fallon, he's something else. But I enjoy watching him. He has done so much more with the Tonight Show than what Jay Leno ever did for the show. I mean, I really enjoy the guy.
Good. It's different.
It is. But as far as the Ellen Show, she is there in L.A., isn't she?
She is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But so
it's funny. This is not about Ellen or the Ellen Show, but I do think I've had a lot of people here in Hollywood get very excited about me after seeing my shows. But then when they go back into that world of Hollywood, it's like, how does drag work into this? So it's not as easy as one would think. I don't know. And also, RuPaul has her. When people think of a drag queen and a drag queen that's on television, everybody immediately goes to RuPaul.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I'm not putting that down either. I think RuPaul's hilarious, and she's always been very nice to me, and I'm happy for her success.
That is, what, you are not very far at all, though, Miss Coco, from really where you would like to be in life. I don't see that. You've built a name for yourself. You've built an empire for what it is, and you stood up. I mean, you can anyone in this life can always constantly, looking for the carrot, that dangling carrot, and thinking about what they don't have. And I'm guilty of that every now and then. But I always look back to when I first created Coco, or even before that, when I was a kid. I would have never imagined all the opportunities I've had and the people I've met and the places I've gotten to travel to. Well, I think
it would have seemed unreal to me. It would have seemed like somebody else's life. So I have to, everyone, we all have to keep it in perspective.
I think a big message that a lot of people are seeing and that they're hearing from you, Miss Coco, is that it is okay to be different and it is okay to laugh.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I grew up in a house where that was, it wasn't easy, but I think that's how we all survived. We always, we didn't have a lot of money. Things always seemed to go haywire and wrong, but at the end of the day, we always knew how to laugh.
For me as a gay man, I look at my own life, and at times it has been very appropriate for me to talk about my sexuality. At other times I was very withdrawn because of it, because I did not understand how to address it. And a lot of folks, they look at Anderson Cooper as the gay guy on CNN. I mean, I like Anderson too. He has his place, he has his job, he has his talents, just like you do, or just like I do. But I think it is absolutely incredible when you're able to use the technology that we share today. You're able to use that to better and to further somebody else in their life's goals and ambitions. And in the meantime, have a good chuckle along life's journey.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the great thing about drag, is that when you're a drag queen, you don't really have anything to hide anymore. It's like it's all out there, and that is very, very liberating. And I think people crave that for their own lives. And also, like I said earlier too, we're a reminder that you get to create who you want to be. We all have roles that we play, but the reality is those aren't necessarily the roles we have to play. And dressing up helps remind you of that.
There was a big debate that was on Tu Wong Fu. I guess I assume you watched that movie before.
I was in that movie.
Oh, you were in that movie. You know what? I didn't have that on my little cheat sheet. Shame on me.
Yeah, I'm in the beginning of that movie. But what was the debate about?
Okay, well the debate. Well, actually, it was sort of a debate in my own house.
Okay.
I've been listening